Friends, welcome back to another episode of Mystical Tutors. I am joined tonight by a good friend of mine from Twitter, CRRMcRae. Colin, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, a little tired, but I'm ready to talk about dragons. The big reason we are here, dragons in Commander, what they mean to us, what we love about them, and basically why everyone else should love dragons, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, when you think dragons in Commander, what's like the iconic dragon that comes to mind when you think about it in Magic?
Ooh. Nismizit, maybe.
Excellent choice. I mean, we've had what, four different card variations of him between the Fire Mine to Draco Genius to Payron to Reborn, if I'm not
And
mistaken.
there's also another one, a little less official.
What's the last official one? I may not have known this one.
Livmizit.
Which one?
Livmizit from the Mystery
Oh,
Boosters.
yes, Liv Mizzet, the Eldrazi monstrosity.
No, the Sliver.
Oh, I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. I'm mistaken because there was two. There was
Oh
Sliv
yeah.
Mizzet, and then, yeah, you're right. I've got a
And they're
mistake.
both so good.
Oh, they are. Honestly, the playtest cards in that set were really slick. But I gotta
Mm.
admit, Niv Mizzet definitely is a good iconic dragon. Do you have a favorite printing of him?
Probably Power Rune because not Power Rune. Reborn. Because he has combo potential.
I can definitely agree with that. I used to play a Niv Mizzet Reborn deck myself. It was a food chain combo, but I'll redeem myself a little bit here. It was food chain combo, so I could complete all 10 of the guild gates with Maze's End. Being able to cast in a Golos and then use some mana to be able to bounce and bring him back in, assemble all my guild gates, and then finally win the game by solving the maze. Uh, but it was a
Mm.
lot of fun. Are you a big combo player then? Is that kind of like your forte to go towards?
I'm a combo player as long as the combo involves dragons.
Okay, okay. I can definitely respect that. I mean, I usually think of a few dragons that come to mind with respect to combo itself. Depending on what the combo interaction is, I mean, there's at least a couple that tend to go infinite. I mean, we always will talk about, Niv Mizzet in either the Firemind or Payran iteration with Curiosity. But the different ways of interactions of what you can get with the dragons and how they combo out is always appeasing to me. You've got like Vivictus Osmighty the Dire in like a Primal Surge combo deck. There's Arcades the Strategist in an Infinite Mill strategy. I don't know. There's so many diverse ways. Like, if you can think of a strategy, a Dragon Commander could basically come at it, right?
Just about. Unless it's a 4-color deck.
Yeah, we don't really have a four-colored Dragon Commander. I honestly would be one thing I'd like to see. Like, 'cause we get all these like we've had what 10 Elder Dragons of different colorings basically for the dual colors
Yeah, there are
between.
legends of every color combo except 4. Well, there is one, but it's not official.
That's true too. We don't have Elder Dragons of the other shard colors yet though, don't we?
There are primordials.
That's true. We do have the Primordials, Darigaz, and the Primevals, right? Because they were.
Primevals, right.
Yeah. Now that was a sick series. If I had to regale about lore on them, oh, that just brings my heart to what the dragons were and then what their primeval forms turned them into, and then Darigaz basically sacrificing himself, breaking out of this primeval curse in order to have the other primevals sort of taken down to restore some balance. But it's just dragons, man, dragons. Like when you so we've kind of touched on like a favorite dragon, but what's your favorite thing to do with dragons in a deck? So like combo is a big structure. Is there any like key mechanics you look on for a dragon and commander to really be a part of a deck or helm a deck?
Either the card. That one involves swarming, and either taking advantage of the enter the battlefield effects that they have a lot of, or when a dragon attacks effects that they have a lot of.
Mm-hmm. So really kind of looking for like that tribal aspect. And do you tend to play a lot with
Mhm.
like the initial Tarkir dragons before their Elder Dragon forms?
I prefer those.
I can definitely agree with that. Out of the five Tarkir ones, I'm curious, what's your favorite?
Uh, Dromoka.
Ooh, respect on that. That's bolstering, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Bolster 2 whenever dragon attacks.
Yeah,
That
no,
is some powerful stuff.
that's some beefy token power up, especially if you're running like token doubling effects for +1/+1 counters. I mean, not maybe not so much like a hardened scales type because that's only an extra +1, but like an easy doubling season. Suddenly your bolster 2 is like bolster 4, and it gets crazy out of hand. I will say I don't mind their Elder Dragon forms, but I
Oh,
do.
those have good effects, especially in Commander, except Kolgan.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I always feel sad for Cole again. Whenever I look at that ability,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so sweet, but Singleton, why you do this?
Well, unless you're fighting a Rats player, then it's pretty impressive.
That's true too. I mean, rats would come in, so that would be Relentless Rat, Pack Rack. You could also Shadowborn Apostle, or I guess in the rare case now, Dragon's Approach decks too.
Does that work on non-creatures?
Um,
Or is it just spells?
I thought Dragon Lord Cole again was spells in general. I could have that backwards. No, it is cast a creature or planeswalker spell. So my apologies, it is
Mm-hmm.
only creatures. So it would be Shadowborn Apostle or Rat type effects. But even still, I mean, despite Kolaghan having that, each of your other creatures having haste is still not
Yeah.
the
Which is
worst thing.
a reason all on its own to put it in.
It's true. It's still at least something to incorporate in. What are your thoughts on the approach that they did with the Strixhaven dragons, though?
I like those because it gives us the four remaining color combos for two color for legendaries.
Definitely agree
And
with that.
I like the whole theme of Strixhaven too. I bought one of every card in the set.
Dude, that's awesome. So happy to hear that. I can't say I bought every card, but I did explicitly go after specific printings. I went out of my way to get extended art copies of all the other dragons, and they
Oh
helm,
yeah.
I guess, my college campus decks. So
Mm-hmm.
I got one of each of the precons, and I upgraded it to have its headmaster as its commander.
Yeah, I
So
did. I bought those too.
yeah,
For some reason, though, I didn't really see that they were entirely compatible with the precons. They weren't
there
synergy with them
there
all the
is
time.
some synergy. There's a couple that didn't quite have great synergy. Um, I will say I did have to do some changes to some of the decks to really kind of make it work. Um, Prismari, Prismari was probably the one
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
that's the
have to
one.
do any changes to. But that one was an instant fit in just because of
Oh
the
yeah. Mm-hmm.
artifact creation, treasure generation, instances, sorceries. But I've definitely had to make changes to the Lorehold precon because obviously what the precon cared about was artifacts and archaeology and recovery, whereas Velomachus is very much about instants and sorceries. So I don't know, it was kind of weird on having to find a balance before that, but it was still a lot of fun. I would say personally my favorite out of those five from Strixhaven has to have been Belladros. She is just amazing as a dragon.
Oh, yeah. Tokens for free every turn and untapping all your lands.
Yeah,
That is.
what more could you want? I mean, if we were building like a Bellatrix Witherbloom deck, untap your lands every turn, pay 10 life, that's fine. We'll gain some life back. And we throw in like a Vedelkin Ore, suddenly we could like flash in some dragons pretty easily.
And it's green, so doubling seas and primal vigor just go right in there.
Exactly. And now we're talking about like consistent board state building. We're developing further life if they happen to die. And maybe we throw in like if we need an end game, like Crater of Behemoth as an option. I mean, there was always other things to explore, but Crater Hoof's like the go-to when you've got like a token board going in. But like each time I look at a Dragon Commander, I always kind of find there's a few different ways you can build it too. Like I was taking a look at Palladium Mords, the Ruiner from Dominaria a while back. When I first looked at her, my thought was like Voltron. like artifact. She comes in with hexproof. She's safe. It was like an interesting approach, you know, because when she finally deals damage, she loses the hexproof. But by the time you're ready to attack, that's really when you're ready to go in and just end someone's game with commander damage. Like when you see Palladia, what kind of what calls out to you as like a deck way you'd want to build her?
Wait, let me take a look. Pelimar's the Ruiner. Has hexproof in it. Flying Vigilance Travel, all very nice.
Yeah, it's like a big beefy body for 6 mana 6/6 with some built-in protection
Mm-hmm.
until damage.
Yeah. Oh, I love dragons. Even the cards that are commanders, you can just make a tribal deck and put all the commanders into this 99 and just do that. So I love dragons so much.
Well, I mean, going along that, something like that would be like a Scion of the Ur-Dragon deck, or I
Oh
guess even
yeah.
a Tiamat deck now, because you can get 5 dragons of different names.
Mm-hmm.
Have you explored much with Tiamat in the recent months, or
Yeah, I have.
what's your take on her? What kind of deck does she fit in for you right now?
Honestly, she works best, I think, not as the commander.
Okay.
Because there's no beating the Ur Dragon. It just makes things so much better. Because dragons are high mana cost, slow, and the Ur Dragon is just better in every way.
Yeah, I can agree. I mean, the Air Dragon's got eminence. Immediately, even in the command zone, he's already making your stuff like at least cheaper, which is extremely important. Getting a dragon out a turn earlier is, I'm not gonna quite say game breaking, but it's pivotal. You the turn sooner you can get out a dragon, especially something big, like if we were saying like Numot the Devastator, like a turn 5 Numot, although that may sound a little slow, a turn 5 Numot versus a turn 6 is huge because on turn 6, suddenly you're ready to swing and you can pay
Mm-hmm.
that ability and you're starting to blow up your opponent's key lands. Maybe, they've got a Gaia's Cradle you're not so thrilled about. Although, if someone's playing with the Gaia's Cradle, I'm questioning where the cash is at. Overpriced cards will be overpriced.
Mm-hmm. But that's why you proxy.
Proxies are a great suggestion, honestly, though. They are a great way to just be able to play the game and enjoy it in a casual format without having to delve into your bank. Because,
Especially for a 5 color commander deck.
yeah, I mean, what's the worst thing we've got to deal with is the mana base primarily, right? Because
Yeah.
consistently hitting 5 colors is tricky. Aside, if you're not going into a fetch land package and, your full suite of shocks, and I'll say it for those that maybe have it, if you have your duels and you're playing your duels, suddenly your mana base is looking like the down payment on a car or a house, depending on what's in it. Do
Mm-hmm. And
you have an approach
just
for hitting up like 5 mana bases? Because like dragons are expensive to hit, and a multitude of them are multicolored. What's your approach when you're working on a dragon deck in Commander to develop like a good mana base for it?
really, I just go all in. A full set of shock lands, original dual proxies, fetch lands, throw in all the mana reduction you can get, chromatic Ori and chromatic lantern, just go all in on that.
Nice, I like it. I like it. Do you have like a defined land count that you usually try to hit, or is it dependent on the deck?
Probably like 38-ish.
Okay, okay. Makes sense. I mean, we're usually dealing with something that's like 6 mana up, so consistently hitting our land drops, and we want variety to hit all our colors. So I get that. And mana rock wise, I really kind of liked what you suggested there about that chromatic array, because as much as I've seen hype about the card, I personally don't see it in a lot of play groups, but I do think it's a fantastic piece when it's got draw potential on it, color fixing done in it, and it's a 4 mana on a rock. I mean, you're funneling 7 in, but it's got a lot of upside.
5.
Oh, does it give you 5?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, see, even better. So we're paying 7 for 5. I mean, we're not at Soul Ring levels for 1-on-1, but we're doing better than an Arcane Signet at this point.
And of course, Arcane Signet and Soul Ring are there too,
Well, yeah, they
because
almost
it's
have to be.
commander.
I mean, Soul Ring it these days is more or less an iconic staple in the format, and I would say the same about Arcane Signet. There's no reason to not run something that's giving you a easy mana return back. Like Belwar Stone gets played. I mean, Mind Stone gets played, and that's a 2 mana rock that gets you a 1 generic. Like, there's no reason not to delve into that, especially when you're playing such an expensive potential commander. Like, your dragon is 9 mana on its own. And we want to get that out as quick as possible if we're trying to go down an Dragon type of list. Speaking along the lines of the Dragon, though, so there's always the type of person that'll divvy up, like, let's focus in on the Dragon for like a deck build. There are probably a good few different ways you can actually build the Dragon. There's what I would probably call like the combo variant, with World Gorge Dragon, Animate Dead, Infinite Mana, get a bunch of stuff. What is your approach for Dragon? Do you have a theme or style you go for? Is it big and tall, or is it wide and many dragons all buffed up and fire breathing and infinite combat? It's like, lay out to me, what would the Dragon commander list for you look like?
Well, recently I've actually started putting in the Dragonborn from the Forgotten Realms set, since they're smaller, cheaper, so I can get out faster. And then I try to use those for the dungeons, because I think they all do dungeons. At least 2 of them do dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And so those can give you scrying and drawing, and one of them gives you a treasure. So basically I just try to ramp as much as possible and then swarm into an instant kill, basically, because there's so many different things.
So you're looking for that final big swing where there's nothing they can do and they just fall under the weight of the dragon army that's in front of them.
And honestly, if you're killing them by combat damage, you probably haven't gotten everything that you need. Because the amount of enter the battlefield effects that you can get off with, like, Dragon Queen, Udvara Hellkite, Dragon Tempest, and Urge of Velkus, and Tyrant of the Peaks, all those enter the battlefield effects and attack effects will just kill them instantly.
That's true, though, and that's a lot of swing damage. I mean, you even partner that with like a card like Warstorm Surge very easily, and it synergizes so well in that package where just each dragon, aside from already being a bomb on a body, it's something that just hits damage as soon as it enters in. Like, you're making immediate impact twice over, basically, which is, I think, great. I liked what you were talking about with some of the stuff from Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, because I don't think the dungeon exploration portion gets as much credit as it honestly deserves. Like, one of my favorite dragons that came out of AFR was actually Nadar, for the fact that it was a good statted 3-drop with Vigilance, that ETBs and attacks you get to start scrying, and there's some big card advantage that you can get by going into that dungeon delving process.
Mm-hmm. And while they don't fly, they do benefit from all the dragon support, and they're fast.
Exactly.
Because really just the one thing that dragons didn't have before was fast, and now they do.
Yeah, basically you're really clearing up the early game that could be seen in a commander deck and smoothing the curve to turn a dragon deck that would be just ramp, here's a dragon, into let's play a tempo game of I'm going to get some good value along the way. I'm going to drop out my big beaters, and then they're going to start decking you while I've already established more card advantage and board state before I'm even at my late game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome, my friend. I think that's sounding like a pretty sweet deck. I want to thank you once again for joining me on today for Mystical Tutors, and to let the fine people know where they can find you.
Sure. I'm on Twitter at CRRMcRae. I think there's periods in there too. C.R.R.McRae. Yeah.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Very cool. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining on for Mystical Tutors tonight, friends. Once again, I'm Astralsflame. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this talk on dragons. Have a great night.
All right.